On the Ground Parenting is a project of Muskoka Family Focus, a registered Canadian charity. They rely on your support to keep this show going and to continue their work helping families. To show your support and to make a donation, please visit tinyurl.com/OGP donate. Your support is greatly appreciated.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to On the Ground Parenting. This is our podcast provided to you by Muskoka Family Focus Parent Ed. I'm joined with my colleagues,
Sam,
Kelly,
and Justin.
Woohoo! We're almost all together on this podcast. We're just looking for one more colleague to join us soon. We thought maybe we would open up talking about maybe this season where gifting might be happening in your world. And we wanted to relate it to this podcast specifically. So while we thoroughly enjoy getting together and talking about parenting and bringing in some guests and relating it to what might be happening in your world, what we've experienced as parents or grandparents, we also wanted to talk about the other intention behind this podcast. And we're looking at generating some donations so that we have an opportunity to bring this podcast not only to more people, but also to expand the parenting program that we offer to many different people, whether in person or online. Yesterday was a day that was known as Giving Tuesday, and we thought that this would be an opportune time for us to share what happens behind the scene for us at On the Ground Parenting. Sam, what would you like to share from your role as the supervisor?
I just would like to share that we do offer a lot of free programming. All of the programs that we bring to parents, whether they're in person or online, are offered free of charge. Registration is required, but it is free. And we are constantly trying to find ways of being able to make a penny stretch. So we're really good at that, and we can do a lot with a little donation. And really, this podcast is just one more way of us being able to get these messages out to you and engage you in conversations about parenting and other relationships in your lives.
Thanks, Sam. Yeah, the podcast really helps us connect with people all around the world. We get to see, we know you're there in the UK. We know that you're there from the USA. We know that you're there from other parts of Canada and Asia. Thank you for joining us so that we can spread this word about our parenting podcast. What resonates for you about this idea of this program being a gift?
for me, I think it's been a gift that I first encountered when I was actually a parent, and Muskoka Family Focus was offering their parent ed parallel to their drop-in situations. And I think we all come into parenting with some tools and some space in our toolbox for more tools. And I had an idea of some of the things I wanted my kids to have, like a sense of responsibility and a sense of like doing chores and ownership for things and being able to be adults who could rely on themselves and problem solve. But I had no idea how to get there. And I think encountering some of the earlier parent ed folks who really helped me think about what 18-year-old do I want to graduate from my house, and then what are all the little skills that add up to a whole bunch of adult behaviors. And the joke is, if anybody's done parent ed with me in this role as a facilitator, that the back of my bathroom door was full of all these tips and tricks so I could constantly work on my skills. And as it turns out, these same skills are actually leadership skills. So I'm thrilled to be in the role of hosting some of these conversations for parents and caregivers. And I think when you take these same skills to your workplace, it's called leadership and excellence in that realm.
Thanks, Kelly, for that reflection of what it's like to be able to find a source to reach out to support you in your parenting journey. Justin, I'm curious about the significance for you thinking about being a facilitator in the Muskoka Family Focused Parent Ed program, and also what it's like to give.
The gift for me to be involved with the parent ed, I guess it's been over 3 years now that we've been doing this together, folks. And I have two young kids, 9 and 6. So that's a good portion of their lives that I've been immersed in this educational journey, working with you folks, learning as a team, and having materials and experiences and anecdotes and research to share with program participants and community members that join us in the programs that we facilitate. And the gift has been that kinship, to be surrounded by other folks that are stepping forward with similar priorities, even for that evening. And for us, a longer span, as we've dedicated quite a bit of our time to proliferating these messages about intentional and on the ground parenting around Muskoka and other communities. So for me to have companions other than my partner and who I co-parent with, to go through those experiences and to reflect with and to share and commiserate with has been significant, as you said, Sandy.
Thanks, Justin. I also want to talk about not only this connection that we have that we're wanting to offer to everyone, but even the notion that for a donation, it doesn't have to be a lot of money. So, for example, if you've got $5 that you would like to share and gift, we welcome that because it all adds up and it contributes to the grand pot that we have to share with others. If you're interested in knowing how to donate, definitely take a look in the notes below. You will see the link. There will be an opportunity for you to contribute there. And we also welcome any comments that you would like to make in connection with what you've been receiving from us, maybe some suggestions for things that you would like us to address, topics you want us to dip our toes in, and just recognizing that this is a gift that we want to give to you, and we're looking for support so that we can continue to offer this gift to you. Thanks, everyone. We appreciate your generosity. I want to keep going with this idea of the season of gift giving, gift receiving, looking for that gift. A couple of weeks ago on a previous podcast, we talked about how it might be that people may not have the means to buy something new, or you might want to be saving a few dollars here or there. And we put out the idea that maybe we could share what we have with others. And I know in a community close by, that's happening. There are some events where people can bring in what they have that they no longer want, that's in great condition, and other people can come on another day and they can walk around and they can shop without spending any money. It's like this great gift exchange that's occurring. And I think that to me is the magical time of the season. So we were just talking about before we got online, and it included, those gifts that maybe well-meaning relatives, or maybe relatives with that little devious, that twinkle in their eye. They're looking to create a little bit of havoc in your home. The ones where they might be giving you the noisy toys. They might be giving you the battery operated toys. What's happened in your home, either in the past or maybe something that your children are interested in right now that might be a little bit of a challenge for you? What's happening, Kelly?
Well, your introduction made me think actually about my father-in-law. When my husband was little, his mom brought him a drum. And so my father-in-law has been waiting for grandkids so that he could buy them a drum. And that sounds great, except for I did nothing to deserve to be the mother of the drum player. So I countered with, that's an excellent gift to live at Grandpa's house so you can drum for Grandpa because he loves drumming.
That's so funny.
That's a one way to get out of that one. Justin, how about you?
Similarly, creativity has been something that has colored our gift giving as a family. My partner has a sister that has two children of almost the same age as our two kids. And what the two mothers that are sisters have come up with is this idea of gifting the children stuff we already have. So we go around and they get a chance to select a bunch of things to give them that are like new to them and are also very congruent with their interests. And so that has morphed into a challenge between the two mothers and sisters for who can get rid of the toy that takes up the most space in the current house. So it could be a castle or a big house or a play table has even happened before. So it's almost like putting a Christmas present at the end of your driveway for someone else to pick up. Those instead go to someone else's home.
Oh, I love it, Justin. I love it. I have to admit the mischievous sister in me would garage sale in the preceding summer to find the big gift to then give it out of my house.
Sam,
Oh,
what's
that's
happened in
funny.
your home?
I mentioned before we started recording that my stepfather, oh, bless him, anyways, his daughter, who was my age and had a developmental disability, loved musical instruments. She passed away a few years ago, and he, in his divine wisdom, thought it would be a really good idea to give these musical instruments to me for my grandchildren to play with when they come to visit, which I thought was really mean because I never did that to him. But just this week, we were purging things out of the house, and I came across this child-size accordion that I've decided needs to be donated somewhere because it really nobody's playing with it in my house. But I do recall my one grandson having a really good time with that one day. It was very loud. It was very poorly received by the other inhabitants of the house, including the dogs. There was some howling that went on. Like it was a whole thing. So, yeah, I have to say the accordion probably wins.
I think any musical instrument is really one that causes everyone to sort of wince when they see it being unwrapped. I remember when my kids were young that the gift that most kids thought that they wanted was the car on the racetrack. You know, it had the little wire and you would put it in the
Mhm.
trough and away it would go. But how long did it ever actually function? Like maybe 3 laps, or the wire would get bent, or the cars could never make it around the curve, and those kinds of toys, and even the remote control cars that I think they had a lot of curb appeal, but when you got to play with it, it was sort of like lunch bag letdown, like, wah, wah. So those are some of the disappointing toys that had occurred within my kids' lives. I want to talk about an event that I was involved in, and the idea was to make it an affordable shopping time for kids. And so I created this event that older students would take the younger students around to help them shop. They had a little bit of money, and all the vendors were asked to keep the items priced, between $1 and $5, maybe $6 or $7, so that children would come in with a list, the young children, and then the older students would also help wrap. And Santa Claus was not on site, was not talked about. And I want to tell you that that intention of not having Santa Claus meant that every child always thought about someone else. They were so thrilled and excited about finding that gift for another person that they weren't even thinking about themselves. And it was a beautiful process to see all of that unfold. Have you experienced your children going out shopping, or have they talked about, wanting to do something special for that another person?
I think it was a theme that we really tried to cultivate is not just our kids getting gifts, but our kids giving gifts. And my girls are in particular really spend a lot of time thinking about people, and sometimes their gifts are so thoughtful because I think they've cultivated this for a long time. We have never talked about volume or price, but what's something little and thoughtful that means I see you, I noticed you like this. It's particularly funny, just some element of that, and I think that's brought so much joy some mornings that they're more excited to see other people open the presents that they produced more than the presents that they receive. And this Christmas, and I can't tell you guys until after Christmas, there's a pretty special one for their little brother.
Woohoo! We're looking forward to hearing that
Yeah,
story
now I
after.
want to know.
This is where you find out about our inability to have delayed gratification.
That's right.
We would all fail the marshmallow test.
Anyone else, Justin or Sam, is there anything that you have heard from your children thinking about others, that they're not getting lost in what they want themselves, but they're really thinking about what they could gift to someone else?
I think it's interesting for me because we have my son's girlfriend who lives with us, and to hear him talk about things he would like to gift to his girlfriend is lovely because he's really thinking about it. He's really paying attention and watching to see what she's interested in and things like that. So it is really nice to see that. And it's expanded this year because my younger son has this he sleeps with the same blanket every night, which is fine. Most of us do. It is too small for him. It does not cover him from shoulders to toe tips because he's quite a tall fellow now, but he won't use any other blanket. So John just kind of casually questioned him about that a little bit. And so he came to me today and said, I just want you to know what I'm trying to find for Ryan for Christmas. And I said, okay. And he said, it's the fuzziness of the blanket that he likes. So I'm looking for a bigger fuzzy blanket for him. I said, that is delightful and thoughtful. If I can help you find a bigger fuzzy blanket for him, I will. It's okay, Mom. I just didn't want you to go and get that for him. Like, it's okay, buddy. You can win Christmas this year. Ryan is it's a niche to surprise him and for him to be happy with something. Like, he's just so meh about many things that it is kind of this ongoing competition amongst the whole family to see who wins Christmas for Ryan. But I think that John's plan to get him a big fuzzy blanket will definitely win Christmas this year. So, and I can say that out loud because I know my kids are not going to listen to this podcast. Certainly not Ryan. We are not scientific enough for him.
Anything from you, Justin?
Yeah, an interesting wrinkle at my house is that belief in the mystical aside, whether it's Santa Claus or what have you, we have somehow been able to pull off through some alchemy and luck, I'm sure, mostly luck, this belief within both of our kids that what they create with their hands is far more valuable than anything at the store. And they
Yeah.
actually believe it. They will present a card with scribbles on it. But that if they believe they put the time into it, which they did, they will present it like they are handing you a golden chalice, that it's the greatest gift that you've ever gotten. And so they really embody that and think about what they could create, how they could do it, and how they could make it personal when they create something for somebody else, more than spending money, which they would rather spend on themselves.
Yeah, I want to just add on to that, Justin. Today I was, sort of going through some things to, pass on, and the artwork that I found from my kids, my grandkids, and I'm trying to figure out how I can display it, kind of frame. And my mind actually went into the time that the parents invested in with their kids to either have the materials and to maybe support them through it. And so I just want to, say thanks to my son and my daughter-in-law and my daughter and my son-in-law, because those definitely are the things that I'm cherishing. And as I decorate my Christmas tree, I see these handmade ornaments, and it just, yeah, it makes me all twinkly inside, and yeah, heart swells and all that jazz.
Sandy, they have services now where you can send off in the mail all that artwork and they will send you like a beautiful book with all of it in it. And then you can keep that instead of, eventually
The
purging.
wall, the wall.
Well, no, the wall is great. The wall is great. But once you run out of space, it
Yeah, yes,
becomes a
no,
drawer and then a box and then a bag.
yes, yes, that's great. I know that my kids would say, "Mom, why do you have much more artwork from our kids than from us?" Well, time passes by, but yeah, thanks for that, Justin. So there you have it, everyone. We're talking about gifting. We're talking about, if you happen to have a little bit of money extra this year, we would love to receive a donation to continue to support On the Ground Parenting Podcast. You can see all the information to make a donation in the link below. And as well, it seems to me that when we were talking about gifting within our families, what we offer, what we notice our kids derive most pleasure, it's from that thought, that process, that understanding of who that person is. And it might be something that we create on our own, or they create on their own, or it might be something that it might be beyond them, like making a fuzzy blanket that they definitely have to go out and purchase. So wishing all of you the most heartwarming and connecting time as you contemplate all of your gifts, whether you're creating or shopping. All the best, everybody. And we will see you again on the Ground Parenting Podcast.
On the Ground Parenting is a production of Muskoka Family Focus's parent education program. It is made possible by the generous donations of listeners like you. If you'd like to make a donation, sponsor an episode, or just ask a question of one of our hosts, go to linktr.ee/On the Ground Parenting. On the Ground Parenting is produced and published by Red Juice Studios. To learn more, go to redjuicestudio.com. Thanks for listening.